Hello lovelies, welcome back to Alakelge YouTube channel. In today's tutorial, I'll be learning how to make this wrap top. It's so beautiful and so easy to make. If you're interested in learning how to make this, please continue to watch this video. If you're a new subscriber here, you're welcome. Thank you for subscribing, and if not subscribed, please consider subscribing. And to the existing subscriber, thank you for subscribing. I love you, so thank you for your support. I really appreciate. Now let's move to the cutting table. So to start off, I have my pattern paper on the table right here. I'm just going to mark 6 inches for the wrap extension. So this will be for the wrap. So I'm just going to mark 6 inches like so. So I'm doing it in a dotted line. That's why I have a straight line. And I'm just going to use my ruler to connect those dotted lines together like so. And that area, I'm just going to label it as the wrap. So that area will be for the wrap extension. So my marking will start from that line that I've ruled down. So now the first thing I'll mark on this pattern paper is the shoulder measurement. That will be half of my shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 14, so 14 divided by 2 equals to 7. And from where I marked the 7 inches, I'm going to come down by 1.5. That's for the shoulder slope. And I'm just going to mark 3 inches for the neck opening around there. I'm going to come back to that later. And from the shoulder slope that I mark, I'm going to connect it to that 3 inches like so. And I will leave that area for now. So from the shoulder slope that I mark now, I'm going to input my armhole measurement. So the next thing I'll do now is just to rule down the line on that area, and that line will serve as the chest line. And from there, I'm going to mark my shoulder to the waist measurement. My shoulder to the waist measurement is 16 inches. I'm just going to mark that, and I'll mark 18 inches for the length of the crop top. It's a crop top, so I'll be using 18 inches, and that 18 inches included the hemi allowance. So that's what I will use. So this is just a full length, and also it includes the hemi allowance right there. So on the chest line, I will mark half of my shoulder measurement, which is 7 inches. I'm just going to connect it to the shoulder slope like so. And there on that line that I just marked now, I'm going to look for the midpoint, and that midpoint is where I'm going to get my armhole curve. So I'm just going to input where I get the midpoint, and on that midpoint I'm going to go in by 0.75 in order to create the armhole curve. So I'm just going to use my curve ruler to make a curve. So just watch the way I'm just going to make my curve like that. So that's how you get to make your armhole curve, and that's that. So on the chest line, I'll input quarter of my bust measurement plus half inch for ease, plus half inch for sewing allowance. I'll be adding just half inch for sewing allowance here. So on the waist too, I'll input quarter of my waist circumference plus half inch for sewing allowance, and that's what I'm going to take on the full length to 7.5 there. There's no any other allowance. I don't add ease allowance. I don't want it to be big, so I just do quarter of my measurements plus half inch for sewing allowance. So I'm going to mark the back measurements there, the back neckline, and also the armhole here. So for the back neckline, I'm just going to come down by 1 inch around the neckline right there, and I'm just going to mark it. I'm just going to create a curve. This is for the back neckline. I don't want to draft another pattern for the back, so that's why I'm doing this on the front pattern. Then around the armhole, we usually drop the shoulder slope for the back by 1 inch. So that's what I'm going to mark now. The front is 1.5, so I'm just going to connect that 1 inch straight to the neckline like so. And then I'm just going to look for the midpoint from that 1 inch to the chest line, and I will look for the midpoint like that. So the midpoint, I'm just going to mark that midpoint, and I'll go in by 0.5. After marking the midpoint there, I'm just going to go in, mark it, then I'll go in by 0.5. For the front to go in by 0.75. So for the back, just going to go in by 0.5. And I'm just going to use my curve ruler to make a curve. So you're going to see that where I use pencil for the back in order for me to understand that this is the back panel. This is the back marking. So that's what I'm just going to do. So you can just do this also instead of drafting the back pattern differently. So the next thing I'll do is just to cut off the pattern paper. So for the back, we are not going to be using the wrap for the back, so I'll just hide it. But let's first cut off the pattern paper. So I actually think of adding extra allowance there, but I just leave it that is a crop top. That 8 inches is okay. So I'm just going to cut off the pattern paper, and I will cut off from the line for the back. You know, we're cutting off the back first before the front. So I'm just going to cut it off like so. Just look at the way my scissors is going, and I'll just cut it off around the shoulder area too, and also on the neck line. So the neckline, so I'm going to cut it, but I'm just going to cut it around there like so. So now I'll first hide in the wrap, or you know, the wrap is only for the front. There's no wrapping at the back, so I'm just going to fold in the wrap in order for me to cut off the front, the back pattern, the back piece. So I'm just going to fold in the wrap. So that's what I'm doing right now. Then I'll place this on the fabric in order to cut out the back. So I'm trimming off the excess at the bottom right there. So I'm just going to fold my fabric, and I'll place my pattern on it and cut it off like that. So that's how I cut out my back like that. So I'm just going to open it up in order to cut the front. And also I need to do a little bit then for the front there. So we're extending the line on the chest line, that I'm just going to connect from the neckline straight down to the hem. But if you don't want yours to be open, if you see my top at the beginning, you know that I wore 2 So if you don't want yours to be that deep, you can stop a little bit below the chest line or even on the chest line. But I want mine to be open at the chest. That's why I mark it straight down. So you're going to use your discretion to know where you want to stop. If you want yours to be as open as mine, or you stop on your chest line, or let's say 1 inch or 2 inches below the chest line. So this depends on what you want, if you want it very open like mine or not. But I want mine to be like that. That's why I cut like that. So this is the front pattern. I'm just going to trace off around the armhole, the back pattern there. So I'm just going to trace off, and also on the shoulder area I will trace off the excess that I have there too, and I'll use this pattern to cut out my front piece. So I'm still trimming off the excess paper that I have there. So this is what I used to I'm just cutting my front piece like so, and the front will be in 2 places, not because of the so I'm using my basic sleeve to cut off the sleeve. I'm using short sleeve here because that's what my fabric is now. So on the front here, I just step in a little. You know, I didn't add much excess, so I want it to be tiny. So I just fold it a little around the neckline, the bottom, and so like that. So the what I'm doing right now is just for me to place my patterns together, my fabric together, the front and back together. I'm going to place them together so it's around the shoulder area. I'm going to sew it around the shoulder area and also on the side too. So I've joined it together at the shoulder area and also at the side. I also hemmed it below and also at the neckline, around the opening, everywhere. I just tidy everywhere up like so. So the next thing I'll do now is to add belts to the wrap extension. You know, we need a belt in order to wrap it around. So I'm just going to join those belts to it. So my belt is 2 inches wide, so I just cut the fabric 5 inches, then I use ½ inch to sew it together. I'm left with 2 inches, and that 2 inches is the length of the belt. My belt is 38 inches long. If you want it longer than mine, you can make it longer than mine, but I recommend that you don't make it lesser than 38 inches. So I've already joined it together there. I'm just going to go and join my sleeve. It's just a small sleeve. You can do whatever sleeve that you want, depending on the fabric that you have. So I'm just using this cap sleeve because that's the rest of the fabric that I have. And here we have our wrap top. So you can wrap this way, or you wrap it this way. I wrap it, if you check the beginning of the video, I wrap it that it close on my belly, or you wrap it this way, or you wrap it this way too. So depending on the way, you can style it in 3 different ways, and it's just so simple and easy to make just like that. So if you have any question, please ask a question in the comment section down below. And if you have any suggestion, please let me know in the comment section down below. So if you've not subscribed, please consider subscribing. And to all those that are subscribed, thank you for subscribing. I love you. So this is all for today's crop wrap top. So this are another suggestion where you can style this. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate you. Catch you in my next tutorial. Bye.